This is our 2011 RZR 170. We've owned it since 2012, so it was about a year old, very light use when we bought it. Had it for 7 years now and gotten a good amount of use out of it. It's been really good for us, so let's go over kind of the general things. Polaris has been selling these since 2009 and they are currently being sold now. This one is carbureted. They were carbureted from 09 till 2014, and then the 2015s and up are fuel injected. It's a 169cc air-cooled motor. Top speed's about 29 miles an hour. Holds about 2.5 gallons of gas. We've gone 20 miles, only about 20 miles on a measurable trail run with this, and so I know you can go more than that, but we just haven't tested out the range yet. It's 85 inches long, 48 inches wide, 55 inches high, weighs 532 pounds. You can turn it sideways on a trailer pretty easy. The front's pretty light especially, and so if you need to drive it straight on the trailer and turn it, it's manageable to do that. Has 6 inches of ground clearance, and the suspension is adjustable. I haven't adjusted the preload on this, but it does come with a wrench in the toolkit to adjust the suspension if you want. It does have a low center of gravity, so I feel that's pretty safe. It doesn't turn very sharp either. I noticed that right away when I got in it before we bought it. Kind of thought that was a bad thing at first, but really for this type of machine, it's good. Then they can't turn it, when they're going too fast and roll easier. The roll cage, now it comes with decals, safety decals like all ATVs do. I've taken all of those off for ours. One of the decals said that the roll cage is not designed to protect you in the event of a rollover, something like that. So I still feel like it's safer to have it than not. We've never had ours on the side, but I've seen videos of these tipping over at slower speeds generally, I guess, and doesn't appear like it did anything. The cage certainly didn't collapse and totally fail. And the recommended age, there's also a decal that comes on these. The recommended age for ours was 12 and older. I think that's a little bit high because the 12-year-old, most 12-year-olds are kind of big for this already. But they did adjust that. Now, the more current ones, I don't know when they switched it, but the recommended age is 10 and over now. So something that might be important, because I'm not sure what the laws are in each state, but I know some of them go by the manufacturer's recommended age for the vehicle. So that might be important to pay attention to. Our boys started riding when they were about 6 years old. Actually, our oldest boy, he was driving the thing and he had to look through the steering wheel to go straight ahead. He couldn't even see over the steering wheel. And he did just fine with that in the yard. There is a speed limiter that I'll show you that's really easy to use. Kind of has an infinite adjustment. We'll go over that. And there's a hand-operated parking brake. That's just right in the middle here. So just pull it over to disengage. And then that's engaged, parking brake. So when that's on, it does limit the throttle, kind of sputters and sputs a little bit. So it's on if you try to drive with that on. So the kids are, they're gonna know something's wrong. The choke is right up here. So that's easy to use for the kids. And then there are only three positions for the shifter. There's forward, neutral, and reverse. And up here on the dash, there's a little indicator for neutral and reverse. There's no speedometer, it's just a decal. I've seen some aftermarket ones that you can, cut a hole in the dash for and place in there that operate off of GPS. You can wire it directly to the battery in the RZR. They look pretty cool, but when the top speed's only 29 miles an hour and your speedo goes up to 80, there's really not much movement to the needle. The driver's side seat does move forward and back. Passenger side is fixed. It's just a little lever to move it forward and back. The battery is underneath the driver's seat. This is the original battery too. It's been great. We haven't had any issues with it, so that's a long time for a battery. And then right here is where the toolkit goes. It's just a little red bag in ours, and I'll show you what's in that. So toolkit comes with a Phillips head screwdriver. This is a wrench to adjust the preload on the shocks. I've never used it on this machine. And then a 10 and 12 millimeter open end wrench. This is a tire pressure gauge, so we've used that. It seems to work okay. And then a socket that you can twist with the screwdriver. It all fits in this red bag underneath the driver's seat. The headlights are good enough. They do dim at lower RPMs, but they light up just fine and light up the area pretty well when you're driving. You're not going that fast, so you really don't need them to extend out that far, and they cast the light to the sides pretty well. There's one tail light in the rear. It shows up just fine for braking during the day, and it shows up nice for running light at night. And the side ones are decals, so it's just the one tail light in the rear. The way that you limit the speed on here is right behind the gas pedal. See that little bolt there? You adjust that bolt in or out, and it just stops the gas pedal from going forward. And then there is a jam nut behind the head of the bolt to keep it where you set it. Right now I have ours dialed or screwed down all the way, so the gas pedal has full travel, no limitation. For fluids on this one, it's pretty simple. I use Polaris fluids in all my Polaris machines. The engine takes the standard PS4 full synthetic 4-cycle engine oil. Takes 1.1 liters of oil for that, so you will need more than 1 quart to go in there. The transmission or gear case uses the AGL fluid, gear case lubricant transmission fluid, and that holds 700 mils. So one bottle will be plenty for that. I change the oil and transmission fluid once a year, and it's pretty easy to do. I'll put a link in the comments to the owner's manual. But here is the engine oil fill and fluid level check. You just make sure that it's clean around there before you snap it loose, and then screw that out, and there's a dipstick attached to this cap. And then the transmission or gear case fluid will go right in here, and again, just make sure it's clean. You just pop that out. There's no dipstick in that. You just check the fluid level. It should be as full as it can be without running out. This here is where the air filter is, the air box, and you get at that from the top. I'll show you that in a bit. And then right here is, if you get any water in that air box or any other debris, this is a tube to drain that out. So you just pull that cap out and let it drain. This here is an air inlet for the cooling for the clutch, and there's another one on the other side I'll show you. So just got to make sure you don't get any debris or water into that. This engine cooling inlet right here can be kind of an issue. Grass gets caught up on here because it must suck pretty hard, because grass does build up on there and completely plug that up. So if you're not careful, that can be an issue. This does just come off with the 3 of these screws. It's pretty easy. I'll take it off once in a while and just make sure that it's all clean inside there so the engine can cool properly. And then on the other side is the other intake for the cooling for the clutch down below. And then back here is the carburetor. So there's an adjustment screw there. You just have to make very small adjustments with a flathead screwdriver. I won't go into that in detail, but it's very easy to do. I've had to adjust it in the 6 years we've owned it. I've had to adjust it twice. So it starts and runs just fine. The adjustment is, like I say, very easy to do, and there's lots of videos and instructions online. There are 6 grease zerks on this. They're all up front. They're the same on both sides, so I'll just show you this side here. But there's one right here on the steering pivot. And then there's one for each. You can kind of see it underneath on that hinge there. So you get access through that hole in the top of the bracket. And then same thing back there. Kind of tough to get to. You might need an angle on your grease gun, but I do that once or twice a year, depending on what we're riding through. And then on the driver's side, there is the brake fluid reservoir. So, kind of hidden up there. I have our chain tightened up to spec. It just has this simple chain tensioner right here. And it's pretty tight, but it still does skip. I guess that's a very common problem. There are some aftermarket solutions to that, but we haven't needed it. It hasn't caused any damage, and skipping is mostly in reverse for us, so we haven't spent any money trying to fix that. So something to watch out for, though, if you're either currently own one or if you're looking at one to buy. Now, to get at the airbox, I just unsnapped one of the side snaps on the netting here and pushed this out of the way. And then it's just this cover right here. It's just held on by these 4 Phillips head screws. So to get at the air filter, this is the air box. You just have to remove these 2 clips on this side. There are 2 clips on the other side that are easy to get at from the wheel well on the driver's side and the rear. They just lift off. So looks like my air filter needs to be changed. And that's how you check it. And the air intake is right here. So engine pulls air from below this cover into the airbox. The only modifications that we have done are to add that rear view mirror and this swing arm that's labeled with the factory UTV. That whole assembly, and it comes with the skid plate. That I replaced the OEM one with that, because on the OEM, this is something definitely to check if you're looking at used machines. That one will crack. The welds will crack. Some of the brackets broke on mine. And it didn't drive any different, didn't make any noise. I just noticed it when I was looking at the chain and tying it down one day. So this is a very heavy duty aftermarket swing arm. I'm very happy with it. It's solid. If you break this thing, you've got bigger problems. It was about $500, and there aren't many options. This is the one that just seemed to be popping up on the internet when I looked for a solution to that issue. The chain, we lubricate that. Well, you can adjust on here. You can adjust the chain tension with that by rotating the axle forward and back on that bracket right there. And you can adjust the alignment of the front and rear sprocket also with that factory UTV swing arm. So kids do need a ATV safety certificate. Every state has different regulations. I'll put links into Minnesota and North Dakota in the comments below so you can take a look at that. Also, links to the owner's manual, factory UTV for that swing arm, and then the Polaris RZR 170 sight. So now we'll get one of my boys out here and we'll get him riding. So now he's about the size that fits in there just perfect. He measures with his boots on 58 inches tall. Like I said earlier, the machine is 55 inches tall, so you can kind of use that as a judge. And then as he gets taller, he's going to be, it's going to get just tighter and tighter. So I do fit in there. So I used to give him rides, fast rides to drift around the gravel, but it's not comfortable. And for adults, the suspension is really harsh. So go ahead and sit in there, bud. I'll show you how he fits in there, and we'll get his helmet on and go for a rip. So he can reach really well there. Looks like we need to move you back one, huh?
Yeah.
When you buy these new, it does come with 2 youth helmets and a flag to mount on the back. It's pretty windy and cold out right now, so we're going to try to do as much as we can inside here. Seat belts are 3-point seat belts. Oh, do we need to move your seat back, bud? Here. Push back. Okay, there we go. So now in order to start it up, you got to put your foot on the brake, and then it's warm enough in the garage here. Should just be able to start it without choking it. Go ahead there. There we go. Okay, so now you got to take the parking brake off. All right, now shift it into gear and a little dusty this evening. Oh, got a little bit of a hill climb here. Cool. Keaton better gun it. Oh, that little RZR's working pretty hard. That's Noah driving the big RZR, and I'm riding with him, and Keaton's up there leading us in the little RZR.